Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome back to my channel, my Loverlies. If you've never been here before, thank you so much for clicking on my video. I am so happy you found me. I do so hope that you will like and subscribe. Before you leave, become part of the Mama family. Mama's got your back, at least when makeup's concerned. And you picked a good one to come see me on. Especially when that makeup is cheap. Guys, today is True Love Tuesday. I say the same thing every single time I film this video. I love filming this video. Today we're talking about George Strait. Now, two things about me. I love country music. And I really love George Strait. George Strait was my first crush. He was, when I think of a gentleman, when I think of a cowboy gentleman, when I think of Southern charm, when I think of I think of George Strait. I have had the biggest crush on him for the longest time. I joke with my husband. I tell my husband I went out looking for a cowboy and somehow found an Indian. And I don't know how that happened. My husband is Native American. Y'all, I set out to find me my own personal George Strait. And I found Stuart instead. Very, very happy with that. The Lord knew what he was doing. But George Strait has been the romanticized kind of ideal in my brain for the absolute longest time. And during doing the research and stuff for him and kind of learning his story with his wife Norma, I fell in love with him even more. He's everything you think he would be. You know what I mean? And that is not to say that he is perfect, because he is not by any means. But he is just... Their story is so, so sweet. Can you tell I'm like a little flustered? I still have the biggest crush on him. So we're going to talk about George Strait today, him and his wife Norma, and we're going to do this eye look right here. I am so in love with this eye look. I say that about every eye look, but it's because it's true. This is what she looks like. How pretty is that? I wanted to do something fall. I wanted to do something green and gold, and this is what we landed on. How pretty is that? Now, if you want something that is a little bit more detailed and slowed down, I do have a TikTok on this look coming very, very shortly. The links for all my other socials will be in the description box below, along with the list of everything I'm going to use in today's video. I usually get pretty wrapped up in the story I tell you guys on Tuesdays, so I don't talk too awful much about what I'm using on my face, but everything will be in the description box. And of course, if you have any questions, all you gotta do is shoot me a comment and I will get back to you. We're using the Girl Hey Hey Vacay palette. I love the Girl eyeshadow palettes, especially these ones that come in this packaging. So you get this big giant mirror, and then this is the color story. I think this screams fall as well. I almost put this in my favorite palettes for fall video. Y'all, if I would have put every palette I wanted to put in that video, we would still be there talking about fall palettes. This is a really good option as well, though, and these are always on sale. I believe this palette in particular maybe is on sale at Ulta right now for $7.50. I think that's around what I paid for this one. 100% worth it. I don't know, they have all of the palettes like this on sale right now, so I don't know if they're about to revamp the packaging or what's going on. But get it while the getting is good. If you've got it to get it, go get it, because they are so good. Great quality, super pigmented, easy to work with. The shimmers are insane. I used this really pretty gold all over my eye today. Oh, they're just yummy. These shimmers are beautifully reflective, but they are a little bit chunky. So you just have to be careful because you are going to get fallout using the LA Girl shimmers. I highly recommend. The mattes are perfect, but the shimmers are a little bit chunky, so I highly recommend doing your eye look first and then going in with your base makeup. Nail check. So I did my nails this morning, guys. I have been so sick. Gonna talk to you about that in just a minute as well. But I did my nails today. I just painted them black and then put a little bit of glitter over top. Super simple but very cute, kind of the season, and I'm feeling it right now. Also, do we want to talk about the fact that I filmed my entire last video with my shirt on backwards? Yeah, that happened. That happened. I had no idea. I was I was sitting there rewatching my video. What is that? What is that on my shirt? And then reality kind of dawned and I realized, oh, that's my tag. My tag. My shirt was on backwards. That's okay. Y'all, I am not perfect. I don't pretend to be perfect. I am sitting here filming this video in a nightgown because I am swollen and bloated and miserable and none of my clothes fit at the moment. So we're in a nightgown. I picked a pretty one. It's black and white polka dots and I think it's kind of cute. I actually don't feel super terrible like looking at the moment. I kind of think I feel cute. Very Susie Homemaker housewife kind of vibes, and I'm okay with that. But I did go to the doctor today, and I do not have a skin infection. Apparently, I just have a ton of water retention, which is what's going on, which is why I'm so swollen everywhere. And so yeah, they've got me on water pills. Apparently, it's got something to do with the lupus and the COVID mixing together. It's just I am retaining water everywhere. So they put me on these water pills. And I've been taking them today, and now I have to go pee every 10 minutes. So that's fun. If it will make the swelling go away, I can deal with it. But yeah, there's that. So that's how my day went. I spent all this morning going to doctor's appointments. And then when I got to the doctor, Lord have mercy, I got to the doctor, they ran my card, and then they told me my insurance had been canceled. Y'all, that is never a nice feeling. It is never a nice feeling to find out that you don't have insurance. They were wrong, of course. It just a number. It was an old card. Anyway, I did get in to see the doctor. I do have my insurance. But like when I tell you my heart hit the floor, like I was like it's like the sky was falling. I was like, oh my goodness, I don't know what to do. What do I do? So I called the insurance company, got everything straightened out. They called, sent over the numbers and all that. I got in to see the doctor. It's been quite a day. And then on top, it's been a day. It's been a day. How has your day been? I hope you had a beautiful, wonderful day. I hope you had a million reasons to smile today. And I hope you know that I love you so, so very much. And if you're sitting there in your nightgown with me, nightgown sisters, nightgown twins, who has a black and white polka dot nightgown? Walmart shopper right here, and I love it so, so very much. So moving right along, jumping right in head first into Mr. George Strait and Norma's love affair. I already have my eyeshadow primer on. I used my Wet n Wild Rose Photo Focus eyeshadow primer, and we're gonna start talking. Well, I'm gonna continue to talk, but I'm gonna start talking about the love story now. So George and Norma. So if you guys don't know who George Strait is, y'all, you're missing out. You are missing out. George Strait is the king of country music. I have been listening to George Strait since probably before I was born. Definitely since I can remember. We listened to quite a bit of country music growing up in my house, and of course my mother was absolutely totally enamored with George Strait. I don't know a single lady who isn't enamored with George Strait. He exudes such a magnetism. He sings this one song, and of course my brain is foggy and I think it's called The Chair, and it goes, "Excuse me, miss, I think you're in my seat," or something like that. Definitely look it up. I'm not even going to try to sing it to you because I will indeed butcher it. But if you know the song I'm talking about, please let me know in the comments. Let me know if it's your favorite George Strait song too. But I remember that song, and I remember it just, it's like he was talking to the every woman, you know? It was just so charming and so sweet and so cute. That was the song that made me fall madly deeply in love with Mr. Strait. But I never had a chance. Sadly, none of us did. So George Strait grew up in Pearsall, Texas. He is a true small town country boy. His family, his father, he comes from a broken family. His mother left when he was really, really young, and he was raised by his father. Now, the thing that I thought was sweet and kind of what probably contributed to him being such a sweet man is that it was just kind of him and his dad, right? But his father was a math teacher, which was just like, it kind of blew my mind. For some reason, I was not expecting his father to be a math teacher, but indeed he was. And he was raised by a single parent, by his father. Now, he met Norma when they grew up in the same small town, and he has known her basically for forever. They went to the same schools, they grew up in the same small town, and when he was asked how him and Norma kind of got together, he said, I never really thought about her. I never really thought anything about her until one day I just decided to ask her out on a date. And I think, I live in the country. I kind of have noticed how country boys work, and that's really just how they act. That's really just how they are. One day you're nothing, and then all of a sudden it's just like, I love you. They're just like that for some reason. So one day he just wakes up and he's like, you know what? I want to take you out on a date. Norma Jean, her name is not Norma Jean. I keep wanting to call her Norma Jean though. Norma agrees and they go out on a date. Now, by all intents and purposes, this date actually went pretty well. But for some reason, they go out on this date and they don't see each other again for a super, super long time. And there was no particular reason why. It's not like the date went badly. It's not like they didn't like click or vibe. It's just they went out on the date and then for some reason didn't see each other again for a while, which I thought was odd, but things happen. And then he said he woke up one day again. The Lord must have struck him with another epiphany. And he said, you know what? His quote is, I think I'm missing the boat here. So he called her up and they went out on another date. And from that point on, they were George and Norma. From that point on, they were together. That started off their happily ever after. So they're dating, they're enjoying life. And yeah, I'm missing the boat here. Started dating after that. They eloped to Mexico in 1971, which I thought was so cowboy. So cowboy. So they eloped to Mexico in 1971. But again, George grew up in small town Texas. And if you know anything about small towns, you know that they are extremely religious, right? Weddings are a big thing. They don't happen super often. A lot of times we end up getting married at the courthouse. But when you decide to have a wedding, you have a wedding. Especially if your family has money, which his did. You have a wedding. So they came back after they eloped. They came back and they had a small church wedding in their hometown of Pearsall, Texas. And they had their little wedding just with select family and friends on December 4th, 1971. And this is the start of their married life together. Very shortly after their wedding, just before they eloped, George actually had enlisted into the United States Army. which I had no idea. I had never known that George Strait had been an army man. So it's so true that you learn something new every day. Right before they eloped to Mexico, he had enlisted in the army. So as soon as they had their church wedding back in Parasol, he left out, and he was stationed in the Schofield Barracks in Hawaii. Could you imagine? Could you imagine being stationed in Hawaii? It must have been so beautiful. Unfortunately, this is during Vietnam. This is during one of the most horrendous wars in history, right? One of, like, just absolutely awful. So he is in Hawaii. He's every day he's sitting there. He said that their troop had to be ready to ship out within a couple hours notice of getting the call. So he spent every day ready, just kind of waiting for the call to happen. Now, luckily for George, that call never came, and he was able to serve his, I don't know, I want to say sentence, but it's not a sentence. Serve his tour, serve his years. I'm not sure. His what?
Tour of duty.
Tour of duty. Thank you, honey bunny.
You're welcome, love.
He was able to serve his tour of duty in Hawaii. Now, during this time, while he's waiting for the call that never came, he is bored out of his mind. They're training, they're waiting. They're training, they're waiting. So he's got to find something to do to pass the time. So instead of just sitting there waiting, he decides to teach himself how to play the guitar, which I love. He had no prior knowledge of the guitar or music or anything like that. Enjoyed music and enjoyed singing, but had no idea how to play any kind of instrument. So what better time to teach yourself to play than when you're waiting to go to war? So that's what he does. He buys a guitar, he teaches himself to play the guitar, and lo and behold, this man is good. Not only can he croon, but he can play a guitar. He can pick them strings pretty well. So after he teaches himself to play the guitar, he joins he joins an army-sponsored band called Ramblin' Country. And he plays to soldiers and to the his fellow troops at the base. They kind of tour and kind of play for other people. But again, his tour of duty isn't going to last forever. And like I said, the call never came. So after his time was up, packs his bags, he comes back home to Parasol, back home to Norma, and they start their life together. Now, George doesn't really know what he's doing. He doesn't really know what he's going to do, what he wants to do with his life yet. At this point, he's got no idea. I mean, got kind of an inkling, but really no real idea that he wants to be a country singer. So what he does is he ends up, let me fix my nose ring. He ends up signing up for college, and he goes to a few semesters of college. I want to tell you, the A&M. Which one was that? Texas A&M, I believe. Huh?
Texas A&M Aggies.
Yeah, the Aggies. So, it says right here, Texas A&M. And he pursued a career as a professional, no. Oh, that's his son. I'm getting all mixed up. Anyway, he went to college for a little bit, went to college for a few semesters, decided that wasn't really what he wanted to do. And then, in earnest, started working on Texas State University. Haha, I knew I had it written down somewhere. So he went to Texas State University, and while he's at Texas State, he sees a bulletin board notice on one of the I guess, bulletin boards. Sees a bulletin board notice for a band looking for a singer, and he's like, "What the heck? I'm not really digging what I'm doing right now. Let's just go for it." So he calls the number, meets up with the guys. They of course love his voice, and they form a band. And the name of the band was called Ace in the Hole. Yeah, the Ace in the Hole band. And they actually had a couple of songs that got onto the charts. Nothing that went super, super big, but they did have a couple of hits. And he saw a small measure of success with that band. And then, of course, he went on to become the famous singer that we all know and love. But that's not really what we're talking about today, even though I would love to talk about it a little bit more. Today's True Love Tuesday, not Music Mogul Tuesday. But in 1992, he starred in the movie Pure Country. Y'all, I know you've seen that movie. I know you've seen that movie. I know you've seen him play Dusty. Oh, and if you haven't, y'all, you need to. If you got a thing for cowboys, I am telling you, it is not to be missed. So good. So basically, in Pure Country, George basically plays himself. He plays kind of like a rougher kind of version of himself, and then by the end of the movie, he turns into this really amazing cowboy gentleman. It's a really good movie. It got horrible ratings, but like, it comes on TV all the time. It's kind of a cult country classic now, along with what is that other one? Midnight Cowboy. Y'all ever seen that movie, Midnight Cowboy, with John Travolta? Oh, I love that movie too. Makes me want to go to a bar in Texas real bad. Even though I don't drink, I would totally go. Anyway, so he is on his way to becoming this amazing country superstar. On the way to that, though, his first child is born October 6th, 1972. And his first child, Jennifer, was born October 6th, 1972. She was born in Hawaii. Really beautiful. And then they had their son, George Jr. They nicknamed him Bubba, which is so crazy because Bubba is such a country nickname anyway. I call my son Bubba. They had their son Bubba in 1981. Now, this is where life gets a lot sad, because they suffer an incredible tragedy. His daughter, Jennifer, was involved in a car crash, and sadly, she passed away in this car crash at the age of 13. And I don't think George ever, how could you? I don't think George ever got over it. I don't think his wife ever got over it. George actually refused to speak about it. He just doesn't speak about it in interviews. I found one quote of him speaking about it, and all he said was that he was so blessed and so lucky to have been able to have the 13 years with her that he was given, and that he will cherish it for the rest of his life. And I think that sorrow kind of sparked something in him. Pain is so big for any kind of art, right? And after his daughter died, he came out with a song, and I can't remember the name of it for the life of me because I'm a little bit brain dead right now. But he came out with a song after she died, and it is just the most beautiful song you'll ever hear. It's so pretty. I encourage you to go look it up. But after his daughter died, he kind of took a minute. He took a minute, really was with his family, just kind of absorbed the loss, right? And then eventually life has to move on. And it did. So Bubba in remembrance of Jennifer. They set up the Jennifer Lynn Strait Foundation. And what that does is it donates money to children's charities in the San Antonio, Texas area. And it's not just like one charity. It's like they donate to a bunch of different children's causes. It's a really beautiful thing. It's a beautiful way to keep his daughter's memory alive. And it's a beautiful way to make something beautiful out of something so horrible and help so many people. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I really commend both George and Norma for that. But he still has George Jr. And George Jr. Is a Spitfire for sure. He's the one that went to Texas A&M. He graduated. He went to Texas A&M and pursued a career as a professional rodeo cowboy, the Professional Rodeo Cowboy Association team roping competitor. That's a big mouthful. So basically, he likes to rope and ride. He is a real-life cowboy and was actually pretty good at it. And soon after, he gave George and Norma both a grandson and a granddaughter. So his firstborn was his son. So they called him Harvey, but they named him Harvey, but they call him Bubba Jr. And then they had a daughter, Jillian Louise, which I think is so, so pretty. And throughout, kind of like for family vacations and things like that, George, like I said, his family had a little bit of money. So George's family has a cattle ranch in, they spend quality time on the ranch near Cotulla, Texas. Near Cotulla, Texas. And that's kind of their getaway. That's where they go when they need a break, when they just want to be together. And I think it's really sweet. I think, especially when you're a high profile kind of person, you really just need that place that you can kind of escape the world and just be human for a minute. So going back just a little bit, I just have tons of information. It's a little fragmented at this point, but I hope you're still enjoying it. So when George returned from the army, he assembled a band and began performing as a solo artist. And just a couple of fun facts about Mr. Strait. So his first chart-topping single was Foolhardy Memory. And he has an unprecedented 60 number one singles to date. I knew he was like the king of country music because when I think of country music, I think of George Strait. But I had no idea that he had 60 number one singles. That is so much. That is so many really amazing, amazing songs. Another fun fact about George Strait is that he doesn't actually write any of his songs. He started, when he first started out, he did start writing. He did kind of start out writing his own material. But his competitive nature kind of kicked in a little bit. And he realized that if other people could write him a better song, and if he could get a number one single out of it, he'd rather use somebody else's material. He is very, very competitive and very, very much likes to win, and doesn't write his own material. Also, where was I going with that? I just had a brain fart. Anyway, he doesn't write his own songs, but he does have a favorite songwriter that he uses, and that this songwriter has written a song on every single one of his albums he's ever released, which I thought was so, kind of neat to know, because you don't really think about singers having a relationship with their songwriters. At least I didn't anyway. But he does. And he has his favorite kind of songwriter, and he always brings him gold. Now, a couple of gems that this songwriter has written for George are All My Exes Live in Texas. I know y'all know that one. It's epic. It is iconic. So All My Exes Live in Texas. Also, Check Yes or No. That one, which we all love anyway. I remember listening to that song. And like, really, that's really how school is. That's really how high school, especially middle school for me. It was really like that. You have a crush on a person. You're super scared to say anything, so you don't. But you write a note, which in the long run is like the worst possible thing you could have done, because they end up taking that note and chaos erupts. So definitely don't write notes. But check yes or no. And then you have Oceanfront Property, which is everybody knows that song. You have Amarillo by Morning, which is a biggie. There's just so many. Again, 60 number one songs that I cannot list every single one of them. But if you've never heard a George Strait song, baby, please, please, please go do that. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. It is easy listening, country music at its finest. He's just an amazing, amazing artist. He's an amazing person. He's a great dad. He was a great husband. Him and Norma have been through heck and high water together and have managed to stand the test of time. Norma, like I said, was with him before he was George Strait. Norma was there. She was there from the very beginning. They're still together. They've been together. I think they've been together over 50 years at this point. The article that I'm getting a lot of this information from, they had been together almost 40. And I think it's a little bit of an older article, but they have been together for at least 4 decades, which is absolutely bonkers. They've never separated. They've never divorced. Been together through thick and thin, and I just think it is so incredibly amazing. And on their 41st anniversary, their 41st wedding anniversary, you guys know I like to end on a quote, so that's what we're going to do. On his 41st wedding anniversary, he told Norma, he wrote a speech to Norma. I have to pack a little bit of this gold on before my concealer dries. But look how pretty this gold is. Do we like the eye look? Let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know. I would love to know what you guys would like to see me do next. I have been trying to kind of switch it up and not do the same things over and over again. You know what? It's kind of a point of pride for me at this moment. I really like to try and be as versatile as I possibly can. I like to go one day and do something maybe a little bit like dark and moody and maybe a little bit gothic, and then go super bright and tropical the next, and then do something super, super basic and beautiful. I really like to keep myself on my toes. Look how pretty that gold is. And then you just take a little bit of a pencil brush on the outer corner with a little bit of that green on there for a little bit of depth. Just kind of fade that in. Just a touch. Like that. And look how pretty that is. Oh, I love it so, so much. Okay, so for the quote, it says, "It will be 41 years this December. It will be 41 years this December. Norma and I are so blessed we found each other. 41 years ago, and we were able..." My medication has got me so brain dead. I'm sorry. "Norma and I are so blessed we found each other 41 years ago, and we're able to do all of this together. Experience this life together. To support each other through everything. Good times and bad. We do almost everything together. She stayed home until Bubba got out of high school and went to college. But since then, she's come on the road with me too. We love each other, and we still like each other too. A lot. And then after that, 7 years later, Norma was in her first music video with George, which I thought was so cute. Also, a little bit weird. I mean, not weird as in like, oh, but like weird as in she hadn't been in the video already. Could have sworn that she was, but she wasn't. Apparently, she's very camera shy and really doesn't want anything to do with being on camera. But 7 years later, she made a cameo for the music video Codigo. It's Codigo. I don't know how to pronounce that, but she is in this music video, and you can tell how much she loves this man, because she walks up to George and serves him a shot of tequila with the absolute biggest smile on her face. Just this big, beaming, beautiful smile. And they're both like a little bit older, but still so attractive and so much in love. And it was just so sweet and beautiful and kind of like a full circle moment as well. I don't know. I loved it so much. Guys, that is the end of our video today. I do so hope that you liked it very much. I really enjoyed telling it to you guys. I enjoyed this story. I just thought it was super sweet. We hadn't talked about high school sweethearts yet. And kind of like high school sweethearts are kind of like my favorite love stories. You really know it's meant to be. You know what I mean? So that is the story of George and Norma Strait. Of course, I pretty much got the eye look done. That's where we're at. I'm just going to add a little bit more of that green to the lower lash line, slap on some eyeliner and mascara, and we will be good to go. I will, of course, be posting finished pictures over on Facebook and Instagram. Tags will be in the description box, along with all the products that I used in today's video. Guys, don't forget to give this video a big old thumbs up, especially if you love black and white polka dot nightgowns, because I'm just like vibing at the moment. I don't know. I'm in a good mood. I'm sick and miserable, but I'm in a good mood. I think it's because I'm talking to y'all. Y'all always put me in a better mood. Please know that I love you so very much. As always, no filters, no edits, no fancy lighting. It's just me sitting in front of my camera telling you guys a love story, hoping you're enjoying what I'm doing. Until next time, my beautiful, amazing, lovely mamas, stay safe, take care of yourselves, and remember, you're important. Bye.